Welcome everybody to Tales from the Tackle Shop. We are now on episode 15, so we're cranking on through them. Smashing it, yeah.
Soon be end of season, won't it?
Well, I was counting up the other day. I reckon we'll end up about 28, so over halfway.
28 last time. I've got to put you up for another like 12 times.
13.
13.
Yeah. I know. It's a hardship, isn't it?
Mm.
Well, that's if we finish in April.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll do another 13.
Yeah.
But we've got a few things lined up. We're trying to liaise with our Scottish cousins.
Mm.
Well, he's kind of...
Well, he's a Cockney, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we hope to be going up to see the Japanese factory in Scotland.
Yes.
Yeah. More of that to come. Where should we start? Should we start with me putting a little link up here to the video that we put out last week of you fishing on the 20-foot?
Mm-hmm.
So it was good fun filming, even though you blame me for the fish moving away all the time.
It was your fault, yeah. Yeah.
How? I wasn't there.
No, but when you come down, the fish disappeared.
If you haven't seen the video, have a look. I think it's really good, but I'm biased. Alex, you organised the match, didn't you?
Yeah, so we could do the video. It just sort of
Coincided.
Yeah.
But you organised the match and you drew peg 1.
I didn't draw it. If you need a good peg, get John Taylor to draw it for you.
So is it true that you're now known as Bunghole Baits?
Apparently so. I've never ever drawn that well, and all of a sudden this year I've drawn well every week.
You've had 3 end pegs on the trot.
No, I didn't have an end peg on Sunday.
Before Sunday, you had 3 end pegs on the trot.
I did, yes.
Is that correct?
The first 3 end pegs I've had all year.
It's a bit bad when you organise your own match and then you still get the best peg.
Yeah, but I didn't draw it. God, that's why I hate anything like that. If I'm organising a match or anything, you always get someone else to draw your peg, or, you know, not that you're cheating or anything, but you just want to be completely transparent to stop all of the...
From my point of view...
I know what hangers are like. They only need a slight little thing and they're like, ooh...
From my point of view, it was a perfect place to sit. It was a perfect place to sit because I could get closer to the bridge and not disturb the rest of the anglers.
Couldn't have asked for a better draw, really.
No, so it's a good job you fixed it. No.
Yeah.
No, that was good though. So if anybody is watching the podcast and going to fish Winter League finals, might be useful to watch the video. Yeah. If you want to know how to catch a lot of fish quickly, that'd be useful to watch. Yeah. If you're interested in buying Daiwa connoisseur whips, or in fact any make, but you were using the Daiwa ones.
We sell a lot of whips in the shop.
Yeah.
Obviously, Teams Daiwa, they're fast. I think if you were fishing for like maybe, well, I don't know, they're just brilliant for everything. They're sort of, you can catch big fish on them, you can small fish. They're just perfect whips.
Big fish.
Really.
Everything I saw you catch, I couldn't even see on the lens.
Well, that's because you need glasses.
Is it true you had 927 fish?
Do you know what? I ain't got a clue how many I had because I didn't bother counting. All I know is that I didn't catch enough quick enough, and the wind cost me big time. I think you could have put another at least £5 or £6 on your weight, if not more.
What if you'd stayed close in?
No, if the
fish close
because
in,
you just couldn't present it right.
Yeah.
You know, everything I had set up, we got there, it was flat calm, there was ice on the water, a tiny bit of skim, so I set some sort of bottom end only rigs, and the plan was to start short and then just work your way out to sort of 4 metres maximum really, and then chuck a waggler when Klondike here turns up and spooks them all over the other side. But
Klondike?
Yeah. You look like Angelos with your bag with your GoPro on. Any good, mate?
He caught anything?
Any good, mate? No, I ain't no bite. But that was the plan, and didn't even get a plummet out. You'll see from the video, it's dead simple fishing, hemp and a few pinkies.
Yeah.
Would have set a few more rigs up, to be honest, some heavier ones because
you didn't have enough. You only had 58 rigs, didn't you? And
yeah, but you know,
you need the extra extendable pole rig.
No, I just needed a heavier rig. Just because the wind was going that way, the bottom was going that way, so you had your hookbait going one way and your float going the other. It was just awful. But I had £30, so can't moan. Nice days fishing. Learned a few things. give it a go this Wednesday. See what happens.
Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed filming it. I actually enjoyed the editing because it posed a few challenges with the way the sun was, but actually it worked all right. And that's the other thing. We're trying to build the channel, so have a look at that one. People need to interact with us. I'm no expert on social media at all, but what I'm learning is if people like give anything a thumbs up, thumbs down, anything, a comment, it helps promote the video, the podcast, the video, whatever we're doing, further through the algorithms on the Big Brother computer YouTube thing. So that video, actually, I was going to take the mick out of Alex and say that Tom Cole gets more viewers, but I won't do that. But it just seems if I put the title Carp in and Tom does a Carp commercial video, it gets more hits straight away.
Or was that the Crack-Off one?
Captain Crack-Off.
Oh.
But it's weird. I don't quite understand how it all works. But the more engagement we get early on of the release of something, the more it gets pushed because there's so much competition on this social media.
That's so interesting, isn't it? Really, because obviously anything with carp, match fishing, or whatever is more. People want to watch that than they probably want to watch me sat on a ditch catching a billion little blips.
Well, you think with the Winter League coming up, it would have loads of hits. But that's one of the reasons we did it, really. But hey ho, it's only been out a few days and it's had several thousand views already, so it's doing all right. But also the podcast. I asked guys last week to give us a thumbs up, and actually it helps because when we did the last one before Christmas with Polly, we had a lot of views. And then we had a break for 3 weeks, and I think we've lost a few viewers because it's getting dropped again with YouTube. So we're catching back up. We've still got incredibly healthy views.
Or maybe it's because you haven't done your rant the last 2 episodes, and maybe that's what they're missing.
That's coming.
Ah, right.
I'm building up. I'm just warming up my vocal cords. Oh. But if I could ask everyone to help, or if I could ask everyone to help again, just keep interacting with us with comments, thumbs up, whatever. Anything is good. If we don't have any interaction, the whole thing just kind of gets lost within the big universe of all this social media stuff. So any interaction is good interaction. Obviously, what we want to do, we want to keep pushing this side of things. We're not doing it to sell more stuff through tackle and baits, even though that would be quite handy. But actually, the bigger audience we get with things like the podcast, and when we talk about local issues, it actually gets spread nationally and internationally because people see it. And we're finding we are actually getting noticed by people, which is good. But obviously, if we can just keep getting slightly bigger, it all helps. And then, obviously, angling clubs who want things pushing, they get a bigger audience. Anglers that we have on, they get a bigger audience. And it just helps promote how great fishing is in Fenland. That's why we do it.
The bottom line, isn't it?
Yeah. So if everyone can help by doing their little bit, that would be great.
Not that we've had much to celebrate this year, but
we'll come on to that, won't we? Yeah.
It's on its.
It's coming. Right. Last thing from me, and it's again negative. Don't wish to be, but I think I need to highlight this. Kingsland Angling Association found 2 more gill nets at the weekend. And this was on the Cut-Off Channel near Denver. So they found one on the Saturday, I believe, and they found one on the Sunday, or Sunday, Monday. I can't quite remember the days. But again, 2 more gill nets. Now, we have an issue. We've got an issue that this has been going on for 20 years. I mentioned this several podcasts ago. And nothing changes. No. We're still finding deadlines, gill nets, illegal fishing, fish removal, and it's consistent. It's not consistently high, but it's a trickle that's coming through all the time. So in my head, how much do we see? What percentage do you reckon we see? I have no idea. It's not 100%. We don't see all the things that go on. It's not 50%. I'd imagine it's way down. But we're finding constantly things that are happening. Now, as anglers and dog walkers and people that enjoy the countryside, if people are finding these things by accident, there's obviously a lot more things happening that we're not seeing that go on at night and so forth and so on. So we've got a problem. And the problem is that we're constantly finding these nets, deadlines, whatever it is. And I'm afraid this falls upon the legal authorities that look after the waterways, and that's the fisheries teams of the Environment Agency. Now, it's been 20 years. Nothing's changed. Still seeing the same kind of numbers that we see every year. In fact, if anything, it's got slightly worse over the last 4 or 5 years. Also, in our catchment of the Great Ouse, we now have one active fisheries enforcement officer. That's Alex Thompson. Now, I know Alex does a brilliant job. He's out there all the time, doing his stuff, trying to keep on top of things, responding to reports. He's travelling hundreds of miles, probably daily, but he's on his own. And I just think, if anyone from the Environment Agency is watching, which you do, now is the time that you have to take action, because enough is enough. You can't have one active fisheries enforcement officer. You can't rely on the goodwill of a sprinkling of volunteer bailiffs, because that's what's happening at the minute. You've got a lot of goodwill in the community, Fenland Guardian scheme. We've got over 70 guardians. We extended the scheme to Well Creek before Christmas because we'd heard reports of a lot of zander being removed. Right. So we've got 4 more guardians helping out on Well Creek, plus the associated people. But it's coming to the point where people are thinking, why should I bother when the legal authorities, or authority, which is the Environment Agency Fisheries team, isn't actively doing stuff? So no doubt we'll see a few posts on the social media soon about some fish being stocked and whatever, and that's all well and good, but there's no point stocking fish if they're going to continue to be taken. So that's the problem we're at the minute. And the other thing is, as anglers, we pay for a service. We buy rod licences. Mm-hmm. And personally, my own opinion is I buy 2 because I haven't even dead baited properly yet this season. I sometimes have 3 or 4 rods, so I buy 2 rod licences, which I'm allowed to do. Have to have the butts within 3 metres from either one on the end, which is a crazy rule, but I still adhere to it. So I pay £60 for the rod licences, and I sit there and think, what am I getting for my money? And to be honest with you, my answer would be, I'm not getting anything, because I don't want my money to go towards flood defences. I want that to be paid for another source. I want my money to go towards fishing, because I am fishing. And I don't see how my local fishing is helped at all with my £60 a year of rod licence money. I mean, part of me thinks we should all just not get one, because no one's going to check, because there is nobody to check. And that's the flip side of Environment Agency. You know, you could end up with a really big problem that you're creating a problem with these lack of fishery enforcement officers and relying on volunteer schemes to do a lot of the donkey work. It doesn't work. Mm-hmm. One last thing, Alex, before I finish. In America, they have something called the DNR, which is Department for Natural Resources, I think. And say I'm fishing in America and I haven't got the appropriate licence, I get an on-the-spot fine and my tackle gets confiscated. If I don't pay, I'm then processed at the local police station. Now, I don't know if the fine increases. I would imagine it does. Now, I don't understand why we don't have that policy in this country. So, if you don't have a rod licence, it's £100 on the spot fine. Mm-hmm. If you don't pay it, you process at the local police station and it's doubled. Mm. And your gear's confiscated the first time round anyway. Now, that money could go straight back into the fisheries team. And to me, that kind of is too simple. Somebody somewhere will go, oh, you can't do that because of this law. And that's a problem we have in this country. There's always something to stop the most common sense things from happening. But to me, on-the-spot fines for things like that is something that could be employed by the Environment Agency. So a fisheries enforcement officer catches 3 guys without rod licences. Right, what's your name? As they do now. That's a £100 fine. Because you can have a card reader linked to your phone. Oh, I'm not paying it. Okay, well, I'm calling. You've been arrested. Taken to the local police station. Word would soon get out, and I just think.
The other thing, going back to that, why don't we have ours is a licence to fish the whole country, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas anywhere else, each area is sort of patrolled or organised by certain people. Surely that would be the best way of doing it. If they can't do it locally, they can sort of, if there's more anglers in our area and there's X amount of fishery money, they can afford to have 3 bailiffs, and that area there's even more, so they can have 5 bailiffs.
Again, common sense.
Why can't they?
In the northwest, a friend of mine lives in the northwest, St Helens, and I think they had 14 at one point, fisheries enforcement officers, because they pump more money into it because they have the salmon and trout runs.
Right.
So they obviously...
Their licence, how much is their licence money compared to ours?
A course and trout's rod licence is the same.
Right. So why is there more there?
Because they get their own money, and that area had diverted more money into fisheries enforcement. The
Right.
Great Ouse catchment is putting less money into fisheries enforcement. Each region decides how much money it's going to plough into fisheries enforcement. So
Right.
you're exactly right what you said.
Right.
What it should be, you could even go down the lines of you have to get a licence for each region.
Well, that's how it was many years ago.
That's how it
wasn't
was, yeah. Personally, I'd rather get a national one, but you're right, it seems as though it can't be organised nationally. And this is a major problem now, because our natural resources cannot take this continual bombardment of take out, take out, take out. They're not designed for that. It's not like big countries which have got this catch and take culture. They've got a lot of space. But you look in somewhere like Poland, the lakes are knackered because they've been emptied. I remember Matt Hayes doing a programme years ago. He caught one little perch in all these lakes in Poland because it had been destroyed. And that's why Poland came up with the first really good volunteer bailiff scheme. They had thousands of volunteers that were actually levelled up to have a custodial, I think custodial warrant, same as they could arrest. But there are thousands of them. There aren't hundreds like we have, there are thousands because the problem was so big. So that's where we are. So we won't make much difference. I'm sure everyone listening is going to agree and have their own little slight opinion on this. But
The other thing is, obviously it's sort of nearly the second year now from the original COVID, and obviously fishing boomed and that fishing licences like doubled or whatever. Be interesting to see where that money has been spent, wouldn't it?
I found a video by the Environment Agency from 2009.
Right.
And they did a lovely, it was very good. They actually explained where the money went. But at the time, far more money went into promoting angling than fisheries enforcement back then. You can see the pie chart. It's millions. And when you look at it, you think, angling doesn't need promoting. Look at all the things that everyone's doing that aren't that are free. All the YouTube, the social media bombardment that angling gets these days, the Environment Agency do not need to spend a penny on promoting angling, because that's what the Angling Trust do, but that's what anglers do. It's done to death. It's done very well, isn't it? So really, do they need to have a rethink? I think also it's not seen as a priority. That's the sad thing. I don't think the Environment Agency has a taste for fisheries enforcement, because it's a very difficult thing to do.
I suppose it's sort of, you've got the hierarchy, probably the ones at the top probably aren't even fishermen and don't really know what goes on.
Or they perhaps just think there's a few of us locals just whinging about a few little things that go on. And it's not, I don't know, I have no answers, but it's going on constantly is the problem. It's not like, oh, this is out of the blue. It's how many do we need to find? We've found hundreds of these things now. So, and that's in areas where it's people visit.
Yeah.
So what's happening at night, middle of nowhere, that doesn't see a soul for days on end. But you've made some very good points. I think I've made some very good points. I'm not really interested in what the Environment Agency think. They need to act, and that's the point we're at now. And I think I'm tired of listening to excuses about lack of money, because as a management, you need to prioritise money. Yeah. But there we go. So that's my rant.
Rant over.
I'm
Number
sure
of views.
I'm sure it will reappear again. But there we go. Right. Shall we start with some match results?
Yeah. So we'll start with your Boston.
You want me to go out that way?
Go out that way. Well, while you're looking for that, I'll do the
I have found them straight away.
You're on it.
Yeah. So this was from last Wednesday. Derek Skinner sent me this one. I was going to find my glasses, but I can read this. Have you been back to Wainfleet?
Wainfleet Mead? No, not yet.
I hear a rumour that you've bottled it.
No, I had a match Wednesday, didn't I? To film for the cameras.
No, that was one that you organised and fixed your own draw.
Right.
So you haven't been back to...
No, not yet. No.
So will you reappear?
Oh, yeah.
They're waiting for you.
Are they?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, so this is from last Wednesday on the river steeping. First was Nathan Watson with 9.12. Second was Alan Gregory with 9.10. Third was Stevie Richardson with £8.12. Fourth, Steve Nurse with 8.3. Derek himself was fifth with £7.15. And Alan Holton was sixth with £7.2. The section winners were as follows. Section 1 was Steve Nurse. Section 2 was Derek Skinner. And section 3 was someone I haven't mentioned, Dave Dean, who had £6.10. And it seemed like just about everybody had perch in their nets.
Getting ready for spawning then.
But Derek and Dave had quality roach. So that's nice. There's some roach coming out.
Yeah, roach, they do exist.
Yeah, and they had a match on Sunday, which was organised by Mark Cook this time. And this again was on the River Steeping. Cracking day regarding the weather, but can't be say the same for the match results. Most anglers found it hard going and struggling to get a few fish. Let me go straight into the match results. Got first was Dave Ashmore with £9.2. Second was Steve Miles with £7.11. Beanie Sawyer.
Yeah.
I love that name.
Yeah, Beanie.
Beanie Sawyer was third with £7.5. Reminds me of Huckleberry Finn for some reason.
Don't know.
No. Fourth was Mick Stamp and Robert Smith with £5.15. Sixth was Steve Harper with £4.14. The section winners were...
Consistent weights though, aren't they? You know, still decent fishing.
Section A was Alec Rawlings with 3.5.
Mick
Mick Stamp was Section B with 5.15, and Bob Smith won Section C with 5.15 as well. Yeah, it's
all right, isn't it?
It's fantastic. I mean, they must be getting 15, 20 anglers.
Yeah, yeah.
He said most of the anglers in the early pegs struggle to put £3 to the scales, but it's not bad if you compare it to what's going on more locally. Yeah. So Derek and Cookie, thanks for those guys. Keep sending those in and we'll keep reading them out. And the Boston Massive, keep doing it. It's good. And you never know. Bunghole baits may reappear and catch a fish in Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
One day. I nearly snotted everywhere then.
Well, nice. Nice. So,
what are you starting with?
We'll do Whittlesea. They were on Beggar's Bridge on the 25th.
The Chip Shop Boys.
Yep, the Chip Shop Boys. So, match winner was Paul Dotchin, I think his name is, £6.5. Mel Saggers, 6.1. Then Andy Lawrence, 5.12. And 118 JT, 550 million fish for £5.6. So...
Does he ever say anything to you about this?
No, he's used to it.
Is he?
Yeah, he loves it. And he didn't put pinkies in, he just laced it with squats this week.
Did he?
Yeah, a little bit harder. So.
Bit of a little subtle difference.
Yes, yeah. But his mix was the same.
Right.
Yeah. So that was Whittlesea. Ramo matches. Wednesday, Kevin Molt, 13.9. Dave Steele's 11.14. Stewie Cheatham, 10.13, which I would say would probably be hemp. And then Ivan the Whip, Benjamin Button, £9.11. So he's just getting in there each week, old Ivan.
Yeah, he's doing well, isn't he?
He ain't won one lately, but he's getting in there. And then Sunday, they've been putting a few pegs above the bridge, just for simple fact. You start going past sort of peg 10, and the weights just go straight off. Yeah. Cormorants, again, we'll come on to them. So Sunday, match winner was Stu Cheatham, 14.14. And the other thing, they've tightened the pegs up. So some of the pegs were bigger gaps than others, and they've basically just done half pegs.
Right.
And you'll see the weights are so much better. So it just goes to show, doesn't it, that we like to give everyone a bit of room, but the fish are in certain areas and you've got to get everyone in. And, you know, you like to have loads of space and all that, but on these drains, they're in certain areas, you've got to peg where the fish are. As simple as that.
It just shows how many fish are crammed in it.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So, Stewie Cheatham, 14.14. Paul Kilby, Big Fish Kilby, 13.03. Mark Williams, 12.10. Hopefully he didn't fall in this week. And Mr. Caster, Malcolm Plant, £12.5. So, as a venue goes, consistent, I know it's only sort of 12, 15 pegs, it's good.
It is good. We got to mention Mark, because when I filmed, when I came to... Oh, it's not... Hold on. I'm good. This has got to stay clean. When I came down to film it last week, he'd already fallen in, hadn't he?
Yes,
already
he
gone
has.
for a swim, and that was cold.
Yeah.
How far did he go? How deep did he go?
He went straight in, didn't he? He's just on the edge of where the deep hole is. What's that? Don't know. What was that?
I thought it was something in my headphones. Was it?
I don't know what that was. Anyway, poor old Mark. We're setting up. It's cold. Obviously, it's frozen. Sun's just coming through, and I think he's gone to put his keep net in, or something's happened, and his box is gone, and he's just gone straight in, up to sort of here, straight in.
Did his box follow him?
No, his box is still on the bank. But luckily for Mark, he travels in a bus, so and I think he lives in that bus, so he's got a shower and everything all rigged up in there. So we said, look, if you want an extra 15 minutes, we'll start 15 minutes. But no, went back up, got dried, got changed, come back down the bank, set up, and he had like 10 minutes to spare. So
this is a bit ironic, really. You blame me for scaring the fish off, yet you had Mark in the next swim doing breaststroke around the peg.
No. Yeah, but that was before the match started. You were playing with your toys and all shit like that, and all I could see was these cameras flying around, and you skylining me that last half hour. So that's why I blame you.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
But well done, Mark. That was a big effort, because that was bloody cold, wasn't it? But
yeah. And he comes second in the match, so.
But a bit like me yesterday, he must have had a wet gooch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got very wet, and I realised after 15 minutes of being where I was, I had a rip in my waterproofs, and my nether regions got a bit damp and did not dry out all day.
Yeah.
But that's another story. Right, where are we?
So we might as well talk about Wednesday's match with the video, haven't we, really? So, like I say, John Taylor drew peg 1 for me.
Was John Taylor fishing?
No, he's fishing this Wednesday.
So how come he was? Did he go to meet you?
He had some pole sections that needed repairing, so he dropped them off. So it was like, hey,
so
John.
you said, John, you can have these 10 quid cheaper if you draw me peg 1.
Yeah.
Oh, peg 8, 1.
Yeah.
I'll back up your story, Alex. It's
Okay.
all right. Yeah.
So John Taylor drew me peg 1, which normally you'd never want to be there if it's a roach match. You wouldn't. 1 is never a peg to draw for roach. You need 3, 4, 5, 6. That's normally the area. But the way it's fishing this year, and it's all rudd, you need to be nearer the bridge. Same as when it was at the chain bridge before. If you drew near the bridge, you caught billions of these little rudd. So obviously watched the video. I had £30 exactly. Peg was probably worth £35 to £38 probably if I'd have done it a bit better. Which sounds quite a lot, but when you're catching a lot of fish, little things make big differences.
Yeah.
Runner-up was Mr. Bomb himself, Mark Williams. When he went in, I thought, I'll give you 6 out of 10, mate. Weren't that good. But
can you do it off the footbridge next time?
Yeah.
Big old swan dive.
So 6 out of 10. Mark Williams had £19.8. Craig Shaw had £18.12, and then Matt, the angler Matt, £17.12.
On the video at the end, did you see what he said to you?
Yes. Do you want an individual picture of all them fish?
And did you see his little grin?
Yeah, he loves it. Doesn't he?
Yeah. And he's looking at me going.
He's got a bit of a bet with my dad at the minute in the HAJAK.
Has he?
Yeah. I won't say much, but I think my dad's absolutely paralysing him at the minute.
Did we mention about the family turmoil this morning?
Oh, bung old Bates.
And the writing on the van.
Yeah. Yeah. But so that was Wednesday. We're going to do one again today when the podcast comes out. So look out for the results. I'm sure John Taylor will be posting straight after the match. So that was Wednesday, and then Sunday was the HAJAK second round. Obviously, it's my first appearance in the HAJAK this year because I missed the first round. So it's different, but I will say it's very different.
Just explain the format again, please.
So HAJAK is normally split on all the venues, all the drains in the area.
Right.
When we first fished it, you'd have 2 sections of one at Ramsey Narrows. You'd have 2 at Benwick, you'd have March Bypass, you'd have Wiltsey Dyke, Wiltsey Bower,
and it's a team
Raveley.
event.
Raveley was always in.
Yeah.
And now we're basically just narrowed down to Benwick and March.
Yeah, but it's a team event, and is there a maximum number of teams?
This year they've sort of tried to, because of the fishing, they tried to sort of scale it down, so there's only 12 teams of 6 now.
Right.
But
that's still a healthy comp, isn't it? It's a good comp, yeah.
It's good.
So 72 anglers, if my maths is correct.
Yeah.
John Taylor will be checking that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this year, I mean, last year, I think the last time it was on, I say last year, but we didn't fish this time last year. There was no matches, was there? But the last time it was fished, you're probably looking at about 16 teams. So
can you hear that noise?
It's the wind.
That's the wind.
Yeah.
I can hear it in my headphones.
Yeah, it's the wind.
We're going to take off.
And to be fair, we have been asking for the wind, haven't we? So
not like this.
we keep asking for all this stuff, and it still fishes shit, doesn't it?
Well, it's too late now.
I don't know what we're going to ask for, but yeah. So this year there's 3 sections on Benwick and 3 sections at March. It's all random draw.
Is that now set as it's just going to keep rotating for those?
I'd like to see him not use March anymore, really, to be honest. I just think, you know, there's 12 teams of 6. There's 3 sections at March. I'm sure we can get 12 pegs on the carrot wash. We can put the 20 foot in, you know, there's 12 pegs on fish there. Okay, the main frame may take probably from the 20 foot, but you could just pay the money out in sections, which at the minute, they've done it differently this year. They're paying top 3 or top 4 on each venue, and then every 6 pegs, which is good. That's brilliant, you know. But why they couldn't, you know, it's not difficult to do a continental style payout or just pay more money in the sections.
Well, where you had your match on Wednesday, you had 8 pegs.
Yeah, you get 12 there, no problem.
Well, you could put 4 the other side of the bridge, couldn't you?
Yeah, but you'd get another couple further down as well.
Yeah. Would you have 2 sections there?
Just 12 pegs, yeah.
Of what, 2 6-peg sections?
Yeah,
or?
you score points in your 12, but you could do... Yeah.
Because you have 3 pegs either side of the bridge, couldn't you?
Yeah.
There'd be one section, that'd be fair, and then you got the rest going down. That would work. It might be daft not to use it because it's absolutely rammed, isn't it?
Well, that's it, yeah. And obviously there's this rule, non-local rule, you can only have 1 non-PE or CB postcode angler fishing the teams because it's Huntingdon and Joint Angling Club League. So they're the rules.
Can't you just rent out a lodge to him for the week?
No.
Did you hear the noise then?
No.
It's getting windier.
So yeah,
if
that's
this
the rule.
podcast doesn't appear, it's because we've not made it out.
Or you haven't pressed record.
Oh, that's what I keep thinking. But we have done that,
yeah. So that's that. So this week's results, we'll start with Benwick. Benwick's got better over the last few matches, which is good. It always has a bit of a lull straight after Christmas, and then just slowly gets better and better and better. The perch have stopped feeding now. It's mainly roach, which the roach weren't feeding sort of 2-3 weeks ago. They are now feeding. They're not big fish, but they're bites.
Any tension bream showing up? That won't be long.
No, if we get some warm weather, it won't take them long.
No.
So standard fishing really, a couple of ground bait lines in sort of 11 or 12 metres. Odd fish coming out on bread, which is a bit unique for Benwick. Waggler, a few rudd about, a few bob nuds on the waggler. Just same old Benwick really, just scale everything down, rotate your lines more often, and just get your head down. Although you're not fishing for say 12, 14 pound we were before, you know, you're fishing for 6, 7 pound, and you still got to do it right. You still got to beat everyone else, and it's nice fishing. I mean, yeah, the weeds is a bit of an issue, but it's dying off now, and it's winter league fishing. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
No,
you know.
Still healthy weights, aren't they?
It's someone, you know, you got to draw the right areas to frame. You know, you got to be on Little London like Bunghole Baits, but not me.
Bunghole Baits Senior.
Yeah. The way the draw works, it meant that a couple of teams both had like 4 anglers or 2 anglers each on Little London, the way the draw worked, which was a bit not sure, because I think the good thing is you're next to the same angler in every section pretty much. So like we had Image on our right and Peterborough on our left, so you look at the points at the end and you work out how well you've done against the teams around you, which is always nice. It's a good way of looking at it. Whereas normally the Winter League, it's completely random.
Completely random, yeah.
So essentially you could have a mega set of draws, which at
you?
BENWICK you've got the wires, there's sort of 6 one side and 6 the other, say, or 7 and 6. And 2 teams had 2 anglers towards Little London side of the wires, so they're sort of guaranteed really top 5 in the section. And then as you go away from Little London, they had 2 late draws in, say, B, and then that flipped, so they had real early draws in C, which was like happy days. Do you know what I mean? You got 2 anglers on Little London each, so that's the luck of the draw. That's fishing, isn't it?
not much you can do about it.
So match winner was Steve Hemingway, Mr. Ever Consistent, £8.4. He was on the tree, which again has been a very consistent area. 4, 5, 6, not so much 6, but 4 and 5. Runner-up was John Wilson, Peterborough lad, £8 dead, so that's another good weight. Third was Pete Emery. He was the peg to the right of where he sat at the weekend. To the left of where he sat at the weekend, and he had £7.2. And then Paul Bick was on the tree, Little London again, next peg to him, but different section, with £7 dead. So not big weights, but you look at the weigh boards for BENWICK, it was a lot better than March.
Yeah,
a lot better.
Where did Dad come?
So Dad was next to Pete Emery. I think he might have been just out of the frame, but he was second in his section.
Yeah.
So
£6.
like he keeps saying, I'm beating you in individual. I was like, yeah, I missed the first round, mate. That's why.
I think this should count towards the Boxing Day challenge.
Do you think?
Yeah.
To be fair,
Dad's fished well.
he's drawn well, yeah.
Yeah, he's done well. He's enjoyed it. He's scratching around and
The thing is, these
winkling them
days,
out.
it's like I give him some stick and that. You have got to draw well, there's no doubt about it. But when you draw well and you're catching fish, you fish him well, and it sort of, it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's...
We've got to check his fingernails, though, for Van Dirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I so hope Devon watches this.
No, he don't. No.
He doesn't?
No.
Oh, I'll send him a message later.
Not cool enough.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So, yeah, that was BENWICK. And then March, well... the sections that we basically start
What I'm going to say is, right, sorry to interrupt. Polly was here earlier.
Yeah.
He saw me and looked at me and went, Andy, what has happened to March?
Yeah.
He said, in all the years he's fished the area, he's never known anything like it.
No. Well, we don't know. It'd be interesting, you know, if people have got cameras and that, see if the fish are there.
Well, the water's that clear.
Yeah.
You can see, but...
I don't know. It's very strange. You know, where there's some shade and cover in darkness, there seems to be quite a few perch. I mean, you look at my section, pretty much most of it's all in trees, and it's nearer the town as well, so there's a bit more people walking about that area, and more people on the path, and people in gardens, and maybe that's something to do with it. But we had real high winds on Saturday. It was like 13, 14 degrees. We got there Sunday morning and it was white everywhere.
Yeah.
Frozen. You know what I mean? It was like, that's not going to help. The fish, the roach, seemed to all be off the bottom. Like, just don't want to go near the bottom. They just seem to be off the bottom. I don't know why. Whether it's the depth they sit at when they don't want to be caught, or they don't want to feed, or away from predators, I don't really know.
You know when I went through on my live scope?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I saw. Most of the fish I saw were half depth. I've got a theory about this. I wonder if that bottom is just full of literally shit. Because there's been no flow on it. There's been a lot of effluents go in from narrowboats. A lot. I mean,
I don't even seem to be many narrowboats moving about either.
No,
Not
no,
even
no,
them. It's
no.
lack of them to give it colour and
the weeds just died and sat there stagnant.
Yeah, maybe.
And I just think, is the
Well,
whole
definitely the case at BENWICK because it's like black.
is the whole thing just literally a mess. I don't know.
Well, there's obviously something. The fish just ain't happy. I feel. I mean, we know here. All of a sudden, if the match results are going down or something, you just think there's something not right.
Yeah.
And it's normally to do with the water quality or oxygen or. Do you know what I mean? That's why I thought with this wind it might stir them up and give them a bit more of that. But I just don't really know what the answer is. The
fish haven't moved in like they do every year.
No.
And I think that's to do with the lack of water going through the system.
Yeah.
But the fish that are there, I just wonder if the whole, because it's been clear and a horrible brown, tingy clear for ages. And it feels dead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like it is just stagnating.
Yeah.
And I keep saying this does not bode well for early summer, because if we get a big weed growth because there's a lot of nitrates in the water, does that happen? I think you get this massive weed growth, we could have a major problem. But I hope
you don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know.
No.
You don't know what happened in the summer. There could have been, because of the weather, we had a real cold spring, and then you just don't know whether a load of fish have, like I say, been netted. They could have been
cormorants, nets.
I think cormorants have got a big.
Yep.
I know because we're not catching fish, we're starting to look for reasons why. And when we're catching a load of fish, it's like, there's loads of fish. But then after a while, it starts to.
You can't catch what's not there.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe the fact that mitten crabs are eating all the fry, and 4 or 5 years ago, Spolt did say you've got to look out for these. You just don't know.
No.
No one knows, do you?
No.
Everyone's got their own theories.
We can say, for definite, there's still a lot of illegal fish removal.
Yeah.
That's for definite, because we've got proof.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cormorants around all over the place.
Yes.
Definite, because we see them. So, proof. We know there's been a big increase in these non-indigenous species like mitten crab, Turkish crayfish, signal crayfish.
Yeah.
We know because we've seen them, and Spolt catches them in huge numbers.
Yeah.
So we know this. We know people that live on board the narrowboats dump their human effluents straight into the river because we've seen them.
Yeah.
And we know there hasn't been much rain because we've seen it.
Yeah.
So we're not wrong. We don't know which part has had the biggest impact, but probably all these things and probably another 20 other factors are having an impact on the old course, the NENE, the local drains. Nationally, there seems to be something weird going on that might be weather related because it's more national. But locally, I wouldn't say there's a problem. There'll be a problem if we have the same scenario next year. But at the minute, it's all a bit worrying that there's a lack of small silvers in the normal areas.
Yeah.
So,
people blame otters. I think otters probably for pike, tench, bream, things like that. I think they're
they take
they're a
bigger
menace.
fish,
and for small fish, they just shoal them up tighter. So I don't know. There's loads of different factors and things, but I don't know. And the other things people say, it's been bad the last 4 years with the Winter League final on it. Hang on a minute, there was no matches on it this time last year.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It had a massive layoff last year.
That should have the opposite effect with extra fee going in.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like, what's that all about?
Yeah.
So, who knows? We've all got our theories.
There are a lot of pressures on our natural resources.
Yeah.
Hence why I'm so fed up with all this netting that we find. Because there's going to come a tipping point whereby something happens and we're just not going to have a lot of fish around. And hopefully this isn't the tipping point, but it could be. I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. But
you look at Raveley Drain, for example.
What's happened there?
That's dead. Do you know what I mean? There's a few little scratty little fish like that about. That's not come back. We sort of say everything goes in cycles, but that's been pants for 6 or 7 years, if not more now. Whittlesea Dyke, another venue. There was one spell for 2 or 3 years we was on it all winter. It was brilliant fishing. There's fish in a little area and they're this big. Then you've got Cockbank. That was not amazing fishing, but consistent all the way through. You got a little area where you'll catch fish and nothing.
I can tell
Ramsey
you
Narrows.
Yeah.
There's no fish there. There's just an odd pike.
I'll tell you one drain that used to be beautiful. That's the Old Bedford.
Mm.
And it didn't matter where you went on it, it was in the winter, it'd be clear, the weed would have died back. In the summer, lily pads.
Yeah.
You go down Salt's Load, it is choked to death. It's like, I don't understand why they haven't dredged it. Because it's got a huge silt build-up. It's needed for drainage.
Yeah.
But at that end, you can't even get to the water's edge anymore. It's just, it's like the drain has choked itself. And the weed on the bottom is like that horrible dead dying stuff. You go up to Whelney, there's no flow through there because it can't get downstream.
No.
And it's just slowly choking itself. That's another example of another lovely Fenland fishery that is, it used to be one of these lovely places where like the wildlife, there was so much wildlife there. Now it stinks. It's like, oh, it hasn't got that beautiful aura to it. It now just looks like a dirty ditch. And this is probably similar to the other places that you're saying. They probably just now look like dirty ditches. And it's hard work keeping on top of all these waterways. They need managing.
Yeah.
And I think what we're saying is, it's not happening, is it?
No. Maybe it's, on the end of its cycle this year, and it's the first. You don't know, do you?
No.
But what I will say is there's not a lot. Every natural venue up and down the country is in the same boat this year. So, who knows?
Did we actually get onto the results for March?
Not yet, no. So, obviously we'll start with F section.
Remind us where the sections were again.
So D section is basically from above the Fallen turning bay going up towards the windmill, basically.
Yeah.
So that's 12 pegs through there, just before the windmill. Mark's winner sat next to me on the style peg. James Draculic at £8.4. I was second above him with £7.6. We had a nice little battle, really. He was like, "Oh, you've beat me by £1." I'm like, "No, I think you've beat me by £1, and your fish are bigger than mine," and all that. And we had a laugh, but I knew that he'd beat me. He caught more roach than me. I think I had 15 roach in that, and the rest were all perch. And he was netting more fish. Do you know what I mean? I probably netted 4 fish all day, and he's done 15, maybe 16 fish. So, and his perch was slightly bigger as well, which I don't know how he managed to catch a bigger perch, but that's just how it was. He fished a tidy match. I don't think I fished a bad match, to be honest. Made a few things. Maybe I started on bread, never had a bite on bread, which has been a banker method for me. Normally you have a quick start on the bread, but I think the bread just gives you an indication of what's going to happen. If you go in on bread and you get a bite straight away, you know you're on some roach. If you go in and you don't, okay, it's going to be one of them days. But so I had sort of 2 lines in the deeper water and then 2 lines in the slightly shallower water. Just dinked a few squats, small hooks, Are you doing a bit of show and tell? Yeah, might as well, won't we? So normally you could use a Hayabusa and a 20 and 18 and double pinkies and sorting the right stamp fish out. It's not like that now. It's just getting bites. Yeah. Just getting bites and scale everything right down. It's before you'd be using 08 hook lengths because you're swinging in fish, and now it's 06s, 07s. Real small hooks. I've been using these. It's a 22, but it's more like a 24 in the Sode Light. Single squat, you can put a pinky on them, they stay nice and sharp. Whether you're catching perch or roach, they're quite a strong hook. They don't bend very much, especially with catching perch. So normally start on a 20, one of those.
Up, mate, like you did
Sorry. Normally start on a 20, and then after sort of hour and a half, you're on a smaller one, fishing single squat. The old faithful Series 4s. Been
like
fishing
those,
them.
don't you?
Yeah, I like them. They're quite a fine hook and they're sharp again. Good for both perch and roach when you get one. Same hooks for BENWICK as well, really. Elastic wise, normally you're fishing sort of 5s, 4s and swinging fish in. Now you're scaling right down. I've been using, obviously the old faithful MIDI 3 to 4 is as good as anything through probably a longer top kit. And then sort of your 1 to 2s and your Reeve 1, I think it is, but it's more like a 2 elastic. Nice and soft. And float wise, normally we're fishing a nice basie with a hollow bristle and you know, suspending a bait off the deck and perhaps putting a bit of emp on. Can't remember the last time I caught a fish on a bit of emp, to be honest, but basically just scaling right down, fibre bristles. You can use wire, fibre's as good as anything. You know, that's your bread float really. Nice little bristle on that, lightening your rigs down, centres as well, and just the fish are there. You just got to try and find them and keep resting lines and going through the motion. So yeah, I had 7.6. Dale Stone's on peg 1, so D1 he had £6 for third. Fourth was Chris Hardman, he had 5.15, mainly perch, all perch. I think he had 2 or 3 roach. He even had an 8-ouncer. So they're there, they're just not feeding.
8-ounce roach?
Yeah, before Christmas there was big roach everywhere.
Yeah.
They're just not feeding.
It's desperate for water. Bit
Yeah,
of colour.
yeah, bit of colour, bit of warmth.
And those boss pegs will produce a lot better.
Yes, definitely. So basically that was the top 4 at March. Then the first peg in E section, John Bates, paralysed that section with 5.12. Then the next guy had £1, and then basically as soon as you got out in the open away from the houses, as soon as you got past the windmill, you just went straight down, 1/4 ounce, 3 ounce, mega weight, 11 ounce out of nowhere, Matt Page, who didn't catch a tench, believe it or not, in his 11 ounces. It's just, you know, so well done, Matthew.
Still, it's got time now, it's starting to warm up.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, he'll be back on them. So in that section, one of our lads, Alistair, was 5th with 3 ounces, and he's ringing me up. I ain't had a bite yet. So just keep going. You know, they'll turn up, something, the flow will change, or something will happen, and all of a sudden you'll get a run of 3 or 4 fish, and that's what happens. And he did. I think he had 7 or 8 little perch for 3 ounce or something silly. Then the next section was E section. Martin Roper, like a lot of people were blanking, and then all of a sudden he's had like 11 fish in 11 chucks just out of the blue. Yeah. For 6 ounces or 6.5 ounces, I think.
I do like a ½ ounce.
You love it, don't you? You've mentioned that before. And then there
How
was.
do you on a set of scales in the wind?
Well, that is another thing.
Doing this.
You know, if you catch a fish, you haven't blanked, so you weigh 1/4 ounce. But then it's hard because someone might catch 2 fish and it still only weighs 1/4 ounce, but they've caught 2 fish. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's awkward, especially when you sat there busting your balls to try and catch one, and so you've caught 1, and someone or 2, and someone else has got 1 but weigh the same.
I so hope next year we have a bit of.
We've never had this problem.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
It'd be nice.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
Perhaps we need the old beam scales. God, no, thanks. So yeah, that was
my 2 perch versus your 1, and just
fight it out. But so yeah, that was March. There was a lot of unhappy faces, put it that way. Yeah. I mean, one of our anglers, Simon Godfrey, he was 3rd in the individuals in the Winter League. You know, consistent angler in our team, and blanked. You know, proper done his head in. So
because there's nothing.
He went home and had to have 2 glasses of milk instead of 1 this week.
Nothing in front of him. You cannot catch what's not there.
No. It's one of them. It is what it is. So people are like, oh, it's bad for the Winter League, but I can't see it being. It's either. It's like I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer.
Well, there is no answer because this is no one's fault. This is nature.
No.
But obviously,
at least it's consistent. That is the only good thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? At least it's consistent. That's one positive thing about it, but consistently shit. But that's just that bit there.
When I submit a rating,
you start going into town,
I submit a
it's
rating
solid.
on YouTube. This is fit for all these. I have to tick all these boxes.
Yeah.
I have to change it this week because we've been using a lot of profanity.
What shit?
Well, yeah. It
Shite.
could
Right.
shot. It could be worse.
A bit like Arsenal's transfer dealings,
Oh,
but
mate,
we won't mention that.
That was unique, wasn't it?
Eh? Yeah.
Aubameyang, yeah, have him.
I don't get the Aaron Ramsey. Yeah, we'll go to Rangers. We'll pay your wages.
Oh, actually, he's come from Juventus, mate. We sold him to Juventus 4 years ago.
They've got a thing about these players, haven't they, Arsenal? Anyway,
oh, it's crazy. Yeah.
So teams on the day. So obviously we were a bit like, we've got a blank. God was just like, sorry boys, I've done my best, I can't. Like, we know he's done his best, you know, it's team fishing. I could have been sat there and he could have been sat on my peg.
It would be, I tell you what, on those blank pegs, it doesn't matter who's sat there, does it?
You know,
you can't catch us.
It's fishing, you know. He's, oh, I don't want to fish anymore. I'm like, come on. You could win the match next week. It's, you don't, when you're fishing for £1, it's, do you know what I mean? But when it's just for a bite or whatever, it is what it is. So,
it is a nightmare.
Teams on the day.
We've got an interloper. He'll cheer us up.
Yeah.
Hello.
How are we?
Right, you.
Come on, get in here. Look.
What we're
just coming on to the
share
team
my
results
chair.
for
Look, we'll get
HAJAK.
two on here.
I can't believe that you've done this without me.
We're just talking about HAJAK. What's your thoughts?
In what way? The pegging or
crap?
Oh,
The old course Nene's been.
It's all over the country, all natural venues where we've had no rain. I think the weather, it's been colder than what it's normally been.
Yeah.
But especially with the Fens, as you know, Alex, that we need rain.
Yeah.
And I spoke to you this morning.
Yeah.
Boat traffic, I never knew about that. Apparently now they have to licence or register the boat, and it's £500, and a lot haven't bothered, so they can't move up and down. They've got to stay moored, have they?
Well, they technically shouldn't have the boat on there, so I suppose they're not moving.
Because that's the least boats I've seen.
Yeah.
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 And obviously that puts a bit of colour in
They're
it.
more like day boats that you see, aren't they?
Yeah.
More than narrow boats.
I remember years ago when we used to fish the canals heavily, come winter time, I used to wish for a boat to come through, put a bit of colour, and people would catch a few fish.
Yeah, stir up a bit, definitely.
Yeah, we haven't had that.
No.
And maybe that's the reason that the weed's been so bad this year on the bottom, where the boat helped to flatten it and push it.
Yeah.
So
There's all sorts of things, isn't there? The other thing is, how come Watley's drawn better than you this year?
well, I've had to let him have a chance, haven't
I
I?
was going to say, you're running out of partners if you didn't.
He let us down Sunday.
Did he?
Yeah, he went up to Greg's, got some sausage rolls and some millionaire
Yeah.
shortbreads, and went back and caught a roach first drop in, and he had 3 ounces and 6 ounces one section. So if you're watching Tony, don't think you'll be in the team next year. But I'll let you lads carry on.
We nearly finished, are we?
Yeah.
I've just finished. Oh,
Let's stay here.
We're just doing team result. I
Yeah.
can't remember who comes second on the day. Anyway, we won it with 30 points with a blank.
yeah.
So how we did
Was
that?
it the
I don't-
March team again?
No, they were fourth.
Oh, was it Stan Jay's
No.
silver team?
No, I think it was. Oh, it might have been.
It was, I think
silver.
it was, because they've overtook us now.
Oh right. So it might have been. Well, it was either Stan J Silver or Mark One White had 32 or 33, and I ain't seen no results. So normally we're pretty good on them on the.
I might even
interweb.
nudge his blog what he caught, but
No.
I'll see the start
I see his
of it.
live feed.
Yeah, I see that at the start because I was watching it was all set up. But
Yeah. Some call him Sir, but he's actually MBE. But some people
Yeah.
still call him Sir.
Yeah.
So, Bob.
Yeah, so all I know is team-wise, Ty were tackling baits had 30, then it was either Stan J Silver or Mark One White, 32, 33.
I think they tied and
Did
they done
they?
them on. Yeah, I
Right.
think they were because they split the money. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah. And then March tackling baits were fourth on the day. So the league now is Dara tackling baits are on 3 points, March tackling baits are on 5,
7 is
six-
silver, Stan J
six-
silver,
Yeah, so
and then
Mark
10
one, yeah,
Stan J gold. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. Anyway, it's tight. So
I think they
Who
should keep the
knows?
venues as well the same for the next 2 rounds. The last because
Yeah.
it's been the same all the time. I mean, to be fair, Bennett was okay
yeah,
all the way through. And March, although it was bad, the first section was good, and then it was all the same. It was all bad. So
Yeah, it's
it can
hard,
only
isn't
get
it?
better. It can't get any worse.
it's hard. I mean,
We
I,
hope.
How did you get on?
I wouldn't mind fishing different.
You were at
venues.
Bennett, weren't you?
Yeah, I was on peg 8, which you wouldn't want to be there. You're on a blank. It's like
Used
piled.
to be Eugene, didn't it? Used to be
When the
a
boat was there, it was better. There's no boat now. And the peg to my right is on going towards the Willer, and then Ray Mally's on my left. He's on the start of the reed, so it got no real cover over.
Yeah.
But I just caught a lot of little fish, and I won the half of the section with £4.11, and I probably had 150 fish for that.
Did you?
Yeah. Just very small fish.
What have you been doing today? Nice to see you here.
Coaching on Well, we went on Magpie first, and because of the wind's been horrendous,
I can hear it in my headphones.
I sat on peg 20, and I said to Dave, I don't think we'll catch here, but I can show you dobbing bread, the basics, and tapping in with a little pot. We done that, and I said, if we go on Crow, you'll definitely catch some fish. We'll go on there for 2 hours, you'll catch some fish. No, we won't. I said, we definitely will. We bite first chuck on the feed, just fishing a maggot feeder, and he's probably caught maybe £30, 25, £30.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so he's enjoyed it, yeah.
Brilliant.
But that was windy, but not cold, which is good.
It's wind's warm today.
Yeah.
I don't think it's getting cold for the next week and a half, really cold, so
We'll see.
just
Sunday.
need a bit of rain.
So is it HAJAK next weekend again?
No, March Open.
Oh, March. Are you in it, Polly?
Yeah, I'll be on that.
Yeah.
I just want to draw near Alex.
Bunghole Bates.
Or near Watling.
How about this then? He organised a match last Wednesday just so he could get peg 1.
No,
It's unbelievable.
No, he did. He went, Alex
John
would do that.
Taylor. John Taylor drew it for me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't believe him.
Never mind, eh?
118.
Maureen. Is his
Right.
missus
Right.
called Maureen? Do you reckon?
No.
Maureen 118212.
I reckon it's Rachel.
Rachel.
Yeah, I reckon it's something like that. Or Elizabeth.
Oh, right.
I think she's got a moustache. No. Anyway, I'll leave you two
Yeah.
guys to it. I've got to
Well,
go.
we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
That's okay.
See you later.
Yeah. See you, mate.
Right, buddy, that's about it, isn't it?
It is. We've covered everything.
We have, yeah. I'm glad Polly's gone because my left buttock
Okay.
was like cramping. That's only because he had his hand on it.
Oh. Sure it weren't his wallet? No. That's it then, isn't it?
That is it. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
completely lost track of what we're doing. So we've got March Open next week.
March Open next week. Then the week after is HAJAK, then March Open again, then Winter League final on the Saturday.
It's come around quick, isn't
And on
it?
the Sunday, there's no matches locally, so apparently there's a match at the River Steeping. So it may be a good chance to get back. May not.
No pressure.
What do you mean? What's draw MPEG and black? Yeah.
Oh.
You had 3 MPEGs. I didn't tell you they're the worst 2 MPEGs you could have had.
Got that little violin there again. Right, we're going to draw it to a close. Thanks for this week, Alex. It's been brilliant.
Yeah.
Everybody, don't forget, interact with us. So subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, make some comments. I was about to say I'd like to hear everyone's views about my little rant earlier, but I'm not actually bothered because I've been doing this so long. I'm so fed up with it all that I actually, I do actually respect everyone's views, but I've had enough of it now with all the nonsense that we find with everything that's going on. So a bit selfish from me, so I do apologise, but that's the way it is. Keep fishing. Let us know how your local water's doing. If there are any clubs out there who are running matches and we haven't given you a shout
There
out.
ain't no others. St Neots ain't had no matches, St Ives ain't had no matches, no Whole Beach matches, no TID matches. This time last year we spent an hour just talking about all the local club matches. Well, no we couldn't. Year before, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. If there is anybody else out there, because I know, is it Elliot Newman? He was organising some
They're all
matches
cancelled.
because it's been dire.
The Welland, yeah, it's gone.
So, okay,
Glenn's
maybe
gone.
someone on the southwest of the country, somewhere in the ether, might be. We're rambling. We're going to pull this to a
Yes.
close. Thanks for watching, everybody. Keep interacting. This has been Tales from the Tackle Shop, a Fenland Fishing TV production.